Logan Brown's senior proposal. All right, so I guess we'll start off with what we're doing. So for my senior project, I wanted to throw a music festival, something that is probably a little bit crazy for me to think about doing, but where there's a will, there's a way. So I've had this idea since about early January, talking to some fellow employees that I work with, as well as the owner. Basically, 10 years ago, there was a music festival that happened at Glory Bound. It was called Pepperjack Music Festival. It died off, and we didn't really do it again for a while. And so I figured, why not now, whenever I'm looking for a thing to do? COVID's starting to end, live events are starting to come back, and it's definitely a way for me to be able to jump in, get my feet wet into the whole entire thing. So what I did was I went and talked to the owner, and I confirmed my dates, locked down my venue. And so from there, basically what we've been doing is I've been doing all the planning and stuff that's gone into it. So just here's my basic written proposal, the ethos of it, the whole entire thing. So Pepperjack's bringing in local businesses, or Glory Bound's bringing in local businesses to try to kickstart basically just like music again, and like people being out and about in life again since vaccines are rolling out and all that good stuff. Earlier this semester, I researched that for every $1 that a music venue makes, there's $12 spent outside of the music venue, outside of the event, in which local businesses are able to make money and jobs are able to start up. And with my focus and my end goal, I want to be a promoter. I want to own my own music venue, but I really my passion is really starting to set in on actually throwing small centralized events for specific demographics in specific areas throughout the country. And I think this is a really good way to start. So I've spoken to Hattiesburg Police Department. I've spoken to Visit Hattiesburg. I've spoken to Indigo Hotel, T-Bones, a bunch of different smaller businesses in town. Some are chain, but mostly trying to stick with the local economy. And there's been a lot of interest in it. A lot of companies are trying to get involved and figure out how they can get involved. Specifically me, the main companies that I have chose to bring on scene with me are Southern Prohibition Brewing Company, Peas Ribs, and then Colludium Food Truck. All three are pretty well-known small businesses in the area. Peas Ribs is just a food truck, but something cool to bring in. So we're bringing in different bands right now. So we have, just to name off a few, Sullivan's Hollow, Rashad the Blues Kid. We're still in conversations with him. Royal Horses. Basically, the demographic we're going for is going to be the same kind of people that come to Glory Bound already. It's going to be more focused on an older crowd rather than a college crowd. But it's also being built to where the college crowd is wanting to come, and is an event that they'd want to go to as well. So yeah, so planning wise, like I said, started back in January. Equipment wise, what equipment I'll need. So I actually, since I was unable to find a production student who had knowledge in the field of live events and felt confident enough to be able to run a stage and all the moving parts of it, I actually reached out and I found an audio tech. So Russell Thornton's going to be my audio tech for the actual event. He's going to run full sound and stuff. I've told him that I'm going to try to help find him a little crew, whether it be some of my lower level friends in the production field, or if it's some of the higher level people that want to just have the opportunity to get in there. So that pricing's already been set aside. We'll jump into pricing here in a minute. My staging. So the staging's one thing that I am running into problems with. Initially, I did have it figured out. That stage fell through about 2 weeks ago. So I've reached out and I found another stage that's going to cost me about $1,000 for both days. But ultimately, I'm trying to research more into what USM has available for me as a student. And I'm going about ways to figure out how I can get a stage through the school to where I can not have to pay for that. And then other than that, we have our second stage, which is going to be the backyard stage. And that's already built. It's a permanent stage. So yeah, the audio for that stage will be ran through Benny. It's a guy who comes and works up at Glory Bound with us sometimes, has a sound system, and he'll run the stage for the 2 artists today on that stage. My marketing plan, basically, we're doing a bunch of guerrilla marketing techniques. So we're going to be doing a bunch of street promotion within like appropriate limits. So I'm not going to be sponsoring I'm not going to be putting USM or Glory Bound or any of the partners involved. I'm not going to put them at risk by putting posters up in establishments that aren't unwelcoming, not putting them up on electric poles and stuff like that. Like I said, I've talked to Visit Hattiesburg, who's going to be a major partner in this. They're also I'm getting a $5,000 grant from them to throw the music festival due to the ability for it to bring in tourists into the area. Going back to that $1 at the event is $12 outside. So they're definitely going to be someone that's helping me. They're going to help. They're going to post it on their website, and it's going to be. I think that's going to be a very beneficial partner. Another one I've reached out to is WUSM as well. In regards of the challenge of you're supposed to spend like $3 per person on your marketing budget. I've really been trying to knock that off a lot and try to cut that as much as possible. So WSM, I've talked to Wilbur over there, and me and him have come to the discussion that if I can get him a spot, if I can get him a like radio ad, he'll play it over the radio in return for allowing WSM to be on site. The thing about that is that I'm limiting their on-site ability to where they can do basically whatever, as long as they are not recording actual sets and not broadcasting any actual set that is being played, because I feel like that would deter people from buying the actual ticket. Word of mouth is going to be another big one. Every single day I'm up here, I have people coming up to me at Glory Bound and asking me about the event, asking me when it's happening, what's happening, all this, that, and the other. So yeah, that's a big one. Vendors, already went over that a little bit. Major partners. So aside from Visit Hattiesburg, WSM, I'm trying to get more in contact with venues that are more in the local music scene. So I'm trying to get involved with the Porter. I've talked to T-Bones a little bit. And then Paul's also getting me in contact with some other people who can kind of guide me and give me a little bit more aid and that way. So the consumer notes. So my anticipation is to go on sale on the 15th. Me and the owner have talked about that a little bit, and he might be gearing towards somewhere a little bit different than that. But that's okay. We'll figure that out. Still got plenty of time. We're about 150 days out right now. He's wanting to do tickets on 90 days out, which I think could be good, could be understandable. And then we're also just going to do pre-marketing before that, where we're going to be focusing on the actual event itself, not forcing the lineup on anyone yet, and we're going to be just putting it out in front of people. So yeah, basically like the conclusion of all that part right there, we're getting to the one sheet in a second, but basically I feel like in my past 3 years, I've learned a lot through the programs at USM, and I feel like I'm really, I might be going far over and kind of reaching a lot, but I've never put this much organization and effort into something, and I'm already shocked by myself, but don't worry, there's more. We're not done yet. So I'm going to slide over here. I'm going to show you the perceived layout right now of the festival. So the entrance exit side, that's going to be on the back end of Glory Bound, facing towards the road of the parking lot. So that's going to be this general area right here. To the right, in between La Fiesta and Glory Bound's parking lot, we're going to put the food trucks on the one side. We're going to have live painters sitting near the green room that are going to almost act as a barricade towards the green room, which will have its specific entrance, but it's just that way it stops wandering. We've talked to companies already. We have 6 porta potties lined up that we're going to be sitting over to the side. That's already been accounted into the budget. Low blow glass and earthy amulets, that's vendors that we're bringing on. And then Sopro is going to be the main beer vendor of the actual festival. So that's just a quick little view. Sound booth in the middle, stage up front. All right, so I'm going to sweep out of this real quick, and I'm going to jump onto my one sheet real quick. So this is going to be a fun one, but basically I've been working on this since about mid-January, where I've fully committed to it. So yeah, basically throughout this past 2 months, I have located all permits necessary for the event, made sure I'm abiding by all state, federal laws, taxes, all that stuff. I've communicated with artists initially about payments and set times. So after, in about 2 weeks, I'll send out actual contracts in order for them to sign, and that'll be figured out. Sound engineer, like I said, Russell Thornton's going to be my sound engineer. We've talked about pricing, going to lock down pricing. Mid-February, I started talking to sponsors. At the end of March, all the permits were put in. I had my first meeting with WUSM about 2 weeks ago with Wilbur to talk about all that. So moving forward from here, I guess now. So in May, it's basically going to be confirming and contracts. That's what May's going to be for me. Getting artist contracts out, getting contracts out for sound, getting vending contracts out for the vendors, so that way they're aware of their need to pay all taxes and all that good stuff. So yeah, this next month's going to be just locking down a lot. June through August is going to be extremely marketing oriented. That's going to be big push time for me. That's my favorite part, so I'm not really worried about that, and I really think I have a really good team of people to help me market this as well. This is going to be event setup right here. If you have any notes about the event setup, day of, something I'm missing, let me know. I plan on meeting volunteer staff about a week prior to make sure everyone's on the same page. But yeah, and then basically doing my job, running around, making sure everyone's got what they need after I've allocated specific team leaders to be in charge of my green room, be in charge of my sound, be in charge of my vendors, and being in charge of my entry, exit. So yeah, there's that. And then I have my ticketing facts that I've typed up. This is going to be available. I'm not going to go into all the details of these, but ticketing facts is going to be available at the ticket purchase. The ticket purchase is actually going to be done through Glorybound's personal website, so we're not having to pay any taxes or fees in excess of what we actually have already. Yeah, so basically, and then here's our logo. But yeah, so ultimately, I've wanted to throw a music festival forever, and it's something I've talked about for years. And I think I'm finally at the point where I have the means, I have the resources, and I have the substance, I guess, of knowledge to be able to throw this event successfully. So, with all people caring and knowing, thanks for checking out my presentation. And even if y'all do decide that this is like a one rip, he's good, I would still appreciate a little note. But yeah, other than that, y'all have a good day, guys. Thank you. Easy.